Hello, my lovelies. My name is Lecka. Today we're going to be going over the very frequently asked for Raid Raptor version of a wonderful anti-meta deck to be able to play and rank and have a whole lot of fun with. So if you guys are excited for this video because I'm getting a ton of comments asking me to Raptor deck, please go ahead and hit that like button and comment down below if this is something that you've been waiting for a really long time. Subscribe too because it's free. It helps out the channel and we're trying to get to 1,000 subs so that we can get a partner. So every single sub helps, and it's completely free to do. But without further ado, let's go ahead and go straight into this deck list so I can start explaining how everything works out. The very first card that we have in here is the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, and if you guys watched the last video that I just recently posted about a deck that was based off of the Power Rangers, this should look familiar to you because this is the same kind of strategy that we used in that one where we had a Union attach this card when we're able to summon Union Courier to attach it to a monster so that we can soft lock our opponent out of their extra deck, because the ability on this one, the first one doesn't matter. The second one is that while this card is equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. And if you haven't seen that video, then the link will be in the icon here in the top right corner. I am using this card because it is essentially another way to have the effect of Domain of the Monarchs, which is my favorite deck because I love Monarchs. They're archetypes, that and fairies. So this is just kind of another way to make Domain happen without needing to have Monarchs in the deck all the time. So this is really cool, and I like being able to use this as a deck for soft locking the opponent out of their extra deck. You won't always use it, but it's nice to have just in case. The Animadorned Archosaur. Animadorned Archosaur. Animadorned Archosaur. Say that 5 times fast. This one is if this card's normal summon or set, you can destroy one dinosaur monster in your hand or face upon the sealed except for this card, and then add one reptile sea serpent or monster with the same original level as that destroyed monster or an evolution skill spell from your deck to your hand. And we're always going to this card destroy either Baby Ceratosaurus or Pterodon so that we can get an evolution, because we want that evolution field to be able to summon more monsters that are later on in this combo. So we are basically Archosaur as a I was about to say Pokemon as a, not Digimon either, Yu-Gi-Oh monster to get Baby Ceratosaurus onto its special ability, which if this card or if Pterodon are destroyed, either way, they can special summon one level 4 Lord Dinosaur monster from the deck, and we always want to use that to then summon Raid Raptor, which is going to be part of this combo later on as well. The whole point of having these in the deck, and the reason that we're running 6 of these and only the other one, is while this is a combo, it's searchable with Oviraptor, which is a monster later on that lets us search through the deck for whatever it is that we need. We happen to not be able to use it, get it out in the combo pretty easy, so we don't need to have very many of it in the deck. Whereas we want to have a really high chance of getting these Baby Ceratosaurus or Petite Pterodons out, so we need to have 6 of those. We have 2 Ash Blossoms because meta, and we want to be able to stop things without having the deck be too clunky with them. We have 2 Scrap Chimeras because Scrap Raptor down here lets it search for a Scrap Chimera so that we can then use it to get onto the field or X these materials for the different cards for the combinations that we have going on, because this is a very, very extra deck heavy combo that we have going on here. It's going to be a big combination that could get Ash Blossom and completely fucked up, but it's very fun when we're able to get it off. But we have Scrap Chimera here, which cannot be used in Synchro materials except for the Synchro Summon of a Scrap Monster and all other materials necessary for Scrap Monsters. When this monster is normal summoned, you can target one Scrap Tuner in your graveyard and special summon it, and Scrap Raptor is what it will target because Scrap Raptor is, in fact, a dinosaur, a tuner, and a Scrap Monster, which is why Scrap Raptor is probably the most important card in this entire deck because it combines the Scrap engine that we have in here with the Dinosaur engine, along with all of the Raid Raptor engines that we have in here. It's the wonderful synergistic middle of all of these different things of the moving parts that we have going on in this deck. Now here's where the Raid Raptors come in. We have quite a few of them. So Raid Raptor Mimicry Lanius is the first one here, where once per turn during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summoned this turn, you can increase the level of all Raid Raptor monsters you currently control by 1, which isn't very important for us. But during your main phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there, you can banish this card and add one Raid Raptor card from your deck to your hand. And since we're always going to be getting rid of this card, you can get it as X music or as a link, we're able to use it to get another Raid Raptor card into our hand pretty regularly. We also have Raid Raptor Singing Lanius over here, where if we control a face of Xyz monster, which we always will because we are basically always going to have Raid Raptor Forstrix out onto the field, then we can special summon this card from our hand, and we can only use it once per turn, but it's nice to be able to special summon onto the field so we can have it as material. Now, Miscellaneousaurus is probably one of my favorite cards in here, just because it's so random and fucking cool. But its effect is also fantastic. During the main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and during the main phase, dinosaurs and monsters are unaffected by your opponent's artifacts. So the reason that this is activated effects, the reason that this is really awesome is because it stops Called by the Grave, it stops hand traps. It's so Ash Blossom isn't going to work anymore, Maxi isn't going to work anymore on our dinosaur monsters, so we're able to get our combo off pretty easily without it getting destroyed, which is super nice. The only time something like that would fail would be if we were adding something from our deck to our hand with Raid Raptors, which they could potentially stop because at that point they wouldn't be dinosaurs. However, the main combo where we're adding and destroying are all dinosaur engines, so miscellaneous is crucial for being able to allow us to make those without getting hand trapped. So leading Oviraptor is absolutely fucking terrifying. Just look at that card art. It is literally eating the soul of an egg that hasn't even been born yet. It is just absolutely nightmare fuel. But also a very, very cool and important card. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can take one dinosaur monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can target one other level 4 or lower dinosaur monster on the field and destroy it. Then special summon one dinosaur monster from your graveyard in defense position. So we use this card in the combo that we have to usually destroy our Animador and Archosaur because it'll be useless after we've already used it to destroy the baby Ceratops or the Pterodon. And then we use it to get another baby Ceratosaurus out onto the field so that when we have Scrap Wyvern for the combination, which is a card that we have from our extra deck that we use Scrap monsters that we summon from later, then it allows us to continue forward with the combo. So Oviraptor is very, very, very important, and we're only allowed to have 2 of them because it's restricted because it's such a good. Raider's Wing is nice because this one makes it so that if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can detach one material from your Dark Xyz monster, like Force Strix, to special summon this card onto the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. Totally fine, because we want to use that ability of Raider's Wing, get it onto the field so we can have it as, again, another material that we can Link Summon, Xyz Summon as an extender, essentially, to use whatever it is that we want with it. We also have Raid Raptor Strangle Lanius, only one of these. We also have Raid Raptor Strangle Lanius, and only one of these, and this is the card that takes our deck from doing its combo into its big Xyz final combos, for getting the big win condition monsters out onto the field. If we control a dark monster, which this deck is almost entirely dark types for its attributes in the extra deck, which is going to be most of the field when we play Strangle on. Special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for Dark Monster. If you control an Xyz monster with the Dark Xyz monster as material, you can target one level 4 or lower Raid Raptor monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negative. Scrap Raptor is the most important card in this deck, for the main deck, and you can target one monster you control, destroy it. Also, during your main phase this turn, normal summon one Scrap monster in addition to normal summon / set. This card is destroyed by the effect of a Scrap card and sent to the graveyard. You can add one Scrap Factory or Scrap monster from your deck to your hand, which we always use to get Scrap Chimera out onto the field so that we can then summon Scrap Chimera to then get Raid Raptor back from the dead to the field again for more shenanigans. Overtext Quatless here, despite the weird name, is actually very important because it is not only a dark attribute, which is very, very critical for the Strangle Lanius, making it so that we can only use dark monsters when we're getting to the end board anyway, but it also makes it so that when we destroy a dinosaur monster, which includes itself because it is a dinosaur, we can stop the effect of a spell or trap card, and there's not very many monsters effects that exist within the game that lets us do this, especially that fit very well into this Raid Raptor Dinosaur shenanigan blow-up deck that we have going on right now. So we always want to have this on the field at the end, so the Super Evolution that we pill that we got from the Animador and Archosaur earlier on is going to be used to summon the Overtext Quatless so that we can have this for our first turn board out there. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is also going to be one that we can special summon onto the field. It's another really strong monster that we can get out pretty easily, or just by special summoning it by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from our graveyard. So if we happen to have it in our hand when we draw it, we can get it out because there's going to be way more than 2 dinosaur monsters in our graveyard to banish with all of the shenanigans and combination. Raigeki is nice because it lets us destroy all monsters our opponent controls. Same with Harpy's Feather Duster. It's amazing tech for destroying all spells and trap cards. We have 2 Super Evolution pills that lets us banish a dinosaur monster and a non-dinosaur monster from our hand and or graveyard, special summon one higher. which we will use to always summon Overtext Quoatlas first, so we can get it out onto the field, and then Ultimate Superconductor Tyranno will really never need to be onto the field, Revolution field, but it's circumstantial. You almost always will just use it to get out Overtext. We have Fossil Dig, 3 of these, so that we can add 1 level 6 or lower dinosaur monster from our deck to our hand, because these essentially acts as 3 more copies of Soul Eating Oviraptor, so that we have 5 in the deck, so we can get it because we have to have Soul Eating Oviraptor combination for everything it is that we're doing. We also have Scrapyard, so that we can add 1 Scrapyard Tuner from our deck to our hand, so this acts as 3 more copies of Scrap Raptor, which is another card that we have to have in order for our combos to go off, so it's nice to be able to have that. We have Lightning Storm, so that we can destroy people's boards in case we happen to check it. We have 2 Called by the Graves, because it's nice for the meta. We have Phantom Knight's Rank Up, because this is a really important card for being able to get rid of one of our big end board monsters and put out a raid attack one. On the bottom. Here it is. The Air Raid Raptor, because it allows us to essentially destroy 1 card on the opponent's side of the field. And this is gotten out with the effect of our Y-Strix that we summon onto the field, so that we can then, if we need to, trigger it to get out an air raid, so that we can then destroy something on the opponent's field like it. So it's nice to be able to have it for that quick effect spell ability. And then we have Infinite Impermanence, so that, again, if something cheeky is happening on the opponent's side of the field and we don't like it, we target 1 face-up monster our opponent controls and negate that monster's effect from happening. And of course, if we control no cards, then we can activate this card from our hand, so it's nice to have as a hand trap if we happen to go. For the extra deck, we have number F0 Utopic Future and number F0 Utopic Draco Future as 2 little like extra tech cards in case something happens and we need to get these out onto the field, but they're just kind of in there because I wanted to have the extra deck be up to 15 cards. The thing that's most important is over here with the Raid Raptor 4-Strix. So these cards, you want to have 3 of them in here, are going to be very important because we're always going to get at least 2 onto the field for our combination. They require 2 level 4 monsters, which is easy to do, against 500 attack and defense for each wing-based monster you control, except for this card, which isn't that important because it's not going to stay on the field very long. But once per turn, we can detach 1 material from this card and add 1 level 4 Dark Winged Beast monster from our deck to our hand, which is how we're going to get a lot of our Raid Raptor shenanigans going on through. Why it's so important because of its ability to let us search the deck for what we need. Raider's Knight is super wonderful because after we get 2 of our 4-Strixes onto the field, and 2 other Dark Attribute ones, we can get rid of those Dark Attribute monsters so that we can summon Raider's Knight to use its ability, where we can detach 1 material from this card, special summon from our extra deck 1 the Phantom Knights, Raid Raptor, or Xyz Dragon Xyz monster that is 1 rank higher or lower than this card by using this face-up card you control as a material, but you destroy it during your opponent's next end phase. It's fine because usually at that point the game is going to be over because you're trying to destroy them as quickly as possible. And what we are using the Raider's Knight's ability for is to get Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon onto the field. It has 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense, and this Xyz card summon cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it can't be destroyed by a lot of things that normally you see in the meta of Yu-Gi-Oh, since it can't be targeted or controlled. I'm sorry, it can be targeted, but it can't be destroyed by the card effects, which is really, really nice. We have Raid Raptor Revolution Falcon, which sometimes will get out onto the field, but not always. Most of the time it's going to be the Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This one, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card this turn. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's face-up special summoned monster, that monster's attack and defense becomes 0. If this card has a Raid Raptor Xyz monster as Xyz material, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of the monster that it had on the field. Really nice. So we can use this card as a spot to get rid of something else. So if we have one of our Xyz monsters on the field and we know that we need to get rid of something that's up on the opponent's side, summon this, get rid of it. Same with Air Raid. This one is kind of a better version of this one, even though this is used more for its ability to one-spot something without needing to have something else as the Xyz material. You can Xyz summon this card by discarding 1 rank-up magic spell, which is what Y-Strix gives us later on. And if this card is Xyz summoned, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if it was face up, inflict damage to your the attack that it had on the field. So it not only destroys something, but also inflicts a lot of damage to them as well, which is super nice because we usually get rid of a lot of their big win conditions. We also have Raid Raptor Satellite Cannon Falcon, If this card is XD summoned by using a Raid Raptor monster as material, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls, so your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Also, as a quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and it loses 800 attack for each Raptor monster. Just great, because usually by this time it's going to reduce all of the opponent's monsters' attacks down to nearly 0, because of how many Raid Raptor cards that we're going to have in our graveyard when this happens. And we'll get this onto the field sometimes if we are using like Air Raid as material because it's Raid Raptor, etc. So again, circumstantial, depends on when you need to get it out, but it's really nice to have so that you can use it with Zeus we have because, again, it's a wonderful negate. It's a good wipe the board dark hole kind of situation while still having it on your side of the field so that you can just press the panic button if you absolutely need to. Scrap Wyvern is a necessary card in the combination of getting the board to look like the way we need it to, because it is a really critical component for Scrap Chimera and Scrap Raptor. You can target one Scrap monster in your graveyard to special summon it, then destroy one card you control. If another face-up Scrap monster is destroyed by a card effect while you control this monster, then you can special summon one Scrap monster from your deck, and then destroy one card on the field, like Baby Ceratosaurus or Petite Pterodon, to get more combos going and get more dinosaur destruction happening. Y-Strix we get out onto the field specifically so that it can then give us Phantom Knight's rank up when we summon a Strix in addition to it. It's also really nice because you can special summon one level 4 Dark Winged Beast monster from your deck in defense position, like Singing Lanius, but we get to negate its effects, which is fine because it lets us special summon things. We have Union Carrier in here specifically so that we can do the extra deck soft locking play with Dragon Buster Destruction should we need to, and we have Apollo's in here, Bow of the Goddess, because she is just fantastic for having monster negations, because we can use our two monsters that we're going to have out here, like Scrap Wyvern and Y-Strix, where we'll always have out onto the field to summon Apollos, and make sure that Apollo then is able to let us have two monster negates in addition to our spell negates that we have with Woatalis, and our big win condition monster that we have with the 3000 over here. Just a whole lot of fun shenaniganry. That's the overview of the deck. I know that it was a lot to try and come in at once, but it's a lot easier to play in the combo if I can show it to you guys. So let's go on into a solo game so I can show you how the combo runs pretty easily for what you're going to see almost every time with it, and then we'll go into a ranked game. Okay, so this combo is going to be shown up here. We have a Petite Pterodon, we have a Soul Eating Oviraptor, and we have a Scrap Raptor. But let's pretend that we didn't start with a Soul Eating Oviraptor or a Scrap Raptor. We actually drew... I put it to the deck for that to happen. So Fossil Dig, which would have gotten us the Oviraptor that we needed, and Scrapyard, which would have gotten us the Scrap Raptor anyway, which is really nice. But to start it off, we're going to play Oviraptor, and then we are going to use it to summon our missile. We're now going to use the effect of Miscellaneousaurus to discard it into the graveyard, so now none of our opponent's activated effects will work. We're going to banish Miscellaneousaurus so that we can go ahead and get our Animadorned Archosaur onto the field in defense position because it is just kind of there. And then we are going to use its ability to destroy Petite Pterodon, then Petite Pterodon's ability. But first, we're going to get our double evolution. And now Petite Pterodon's ability activates so that we special summon Scrap Raptor! But just in case we didn't get Petite Pterodon, we had Scrap Raptor already, which was... But it makes it so that we can special summon it since we already had to use our normal summon on getting Oviraptor out. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use Scrap Raptor's ability to destroy itself. That way, we can go ahead and get Scrap Chimera from the deck into our hand, and then we are going to summon Scrap Chimera because of Scrap Raptor's ability to let us summon a monster that has Scrap in the name. And because it lets us summon a tuner, we can bring back Scrap Raptor from the dead in order to get it out onto the field. We're now going to use Oviraptor's ability to get rid of our Archosaur because it's completely useless now. And we're going to use it to get Petite Pterodon onto the field so we can set it on right there. I mean, we have these cards in our hand, so we might as well use his Scrapyard to get another Scrap Raptor into our hand. Also helps with our deck thinning for turn. We're going to go ahead and we are going to special summon Scrap Wyvern first. So we're going to get rid of Scrap Chimera. We're going to get rid of Scrap Raptor. Shabam! And now we have Scrap Raptor on the field. We are then going to use its ability to get rid of we're going to summon Scrap Raptor onto the field and then destroy Petite Pterodon. 50 Pterodon's ability to get ourselves another Miscellaneousaurus. So that we can then go into our deck and get out Forstrix. You're going to get rid of the Oviraptor and Miscellaneousaurus 4. We're going to play it in defense position. It has 2,000 defense and only 100 attack, so you never want to play Forstrix into attack mode. We're now going to use Forstrix's ability to discard a material from it. Goodbye, Miscellaneousaurus. So we're going to use Forstrix's ability to add Singing Lanius from our deck to our hand so that we can then special summon it. So, shabippity boppity dippity boop. Doesn't really matter if we summon it in attack position because we're it to summon Ystrix onto the field. So we're going to get rid of our Forstrix and we're going to get rid of the other one so we can get, bam, Ystrix on the field. Boom shakalaka. We're going to use Ystrix's ability to go ahead and grab our Mimicry here. So we can special summon it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get another Forstrix onto the field by using that. So I accidentally placed it in attack mode, but considering it's going to be leaving the field soon anyway, that's fine. You always want to play it in defense mode though, so don't do what I did. But we're going to use its ability to activate it so that we can just go ahead and so we can go ahead and we can add in our freaking frackin' Strangler here. And now Ystrix's ability activates so that we can go ahead and set our rank up card onto the field. We're then going to go into our graveyard so that we can use Mimicry's ability to let us go ahead and draw a card, aka a Raid Raptor card, from our deck to help thin it out even more. We're then going to activate the ability of Raider's Ring to detach a material from our Forstrix that is left remaining so that we can special summon it onto the field. We're also going to then use Strangle Lanius's ability, same thing, and special summon it onto the field so that we can then go here, and now we can go ahead and do Raider's Knight. So we're going to use Raider's Knight ability to summon our big super monster, Bippity Boppity Boo, bang. Go ahead and get out our Xyz Dragon. So we're going to discard one of its materials to then get out our big boy. Now, what I should have done differently was I shouldn't have Ystrix and Scrap Wyvern still here before I summoned Lanius. I should have gotten rid of both of these to get Apollo onto the field. The reason I can't go into my extra deck right now and do Apollo is because Strangle Lanius makes it so we can summon monsters that have a dark type attribute. So, obviously, Apollo is wind, so since it's a wind attribute, we can't summon her. But what we can do is summon our Quoadilus. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to banish this because the Archosaurus completely comes to us. Same with the Chimera. We're just going to go ahead and get rid of both of those bad boys and get our Quoadilus onto the field in face-up attack position. Bam. So now we have a monster that can't be affected by or destroyed by card effects. We have a monster that can destroy spell trap card things. And we might as well use our Fossil Dig here so that we can go ahead and I suppose I'll grab a Miscellaneous. That way next turn I can go ahead and discard it to make sure we don't get hit by any handicaps again as well. That way we can make sure we have it in the hand. And from here, we are going to go ahead and end because I don't need to use the ability of Arc Rebellion Dragon to combine the attack power of all of my different monsters on the field, add to it. Because no need. I can't attack on turn 1. So while the computer tries to figure out what to do, I don't think it'll have too much to attack us with. Now, the Nightmare Predator deck is a really strong deck and a hard one to buy. I wanted to against this one solo though. Oh my god, the computer just ended their turn. I just forced them to end. Well, that's awesome, because that means that we can OTK them. Alright, so we would go ahead and we would activate the effect of Miscellaneous first, because I would want to make sure that we were safe from getting rid of anything. I would get rid of 4 cards in here, including the other Miscellaneousaurus. That way I can summon Oviraptor from the deck to the field, and I can activate Oviraptor's ability to select 1 card. So we're going to select Superconductor Tyranno and add it to our hand, because I would like to have that card just in case something else goes awry here. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to activate the ability of Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, and we are going to detach Raider's Ring. It doesn't really matter which one we do. But now it has 10,700 attack, and we're just going to go into our battle here and we're just gonna go slippity slappity fucking boopity all on their ass. And so, take that, AI. Hey, okay. And that's basically how the combo's supposed to go. Plus Apollo, which I didn't really do. But you know what? I make mistakes too, because I'm only human. So let's go ahead and now take this into a ranked battle so I can show you guys how it works against an opponent. So even though we're going second against just Greg, this is actually a really good hand. Because we have our Soul Eating Oviraptor to be able to start our combo with. We already have a Raider's Wing. We have Strangolanius as well, so we already have this card for our combo, so we can do other stuff. We have Scrapyard, so I can go ahead and get Scrap Raptor into my hand. Oh, and I was going to say I have Lightning Storm in case that they put any shenanigans onto the field, but I don't even need to use Lightning Storm. We have a Called by the Grave now, though, which is pretty nice. Alright, let's go ahead and use Scrapyard. And go ahead and grab ourselves a Scrap Raptor from the deck. Bippity boppity boop. And then we will go ahead and we will play our Soul Eating Oviraptor. Boom, chakalaka. And we will go ahead and use it to grab our Miscellaneousaurus. Now, they don't have any hand traps because they would have already been prompted to that, but we're going to do it along with the combination anyway. So now it can't have any activated effects affect our dinosaur monsters. We're going to use this to get rid of itself, so we can then put our Archosaur onto the field. We're then going to use the effect of the Animadorned Archosaur to destroy Scrap Raptor, who will then go ahead and allow us to get our Super Evolution kill. So now we're going to go ahead and use Oviraptor's ability to destroy our Archosaur, since it's already done what it's needed to do. And we're going to get Scrap Raptor onto the field. So even though we don't have a baby Cerosaurus or a Petit Pteranodon, it's still a good combination for us to be able to for all the things that we have going on. So now we're going to use Scrap Raptor's ability, since it's on the field, to destroy itself. Because it's the card that never dies. And then we'll go ahead and use it to get Scrap Chimera into our hand, which we can then summon with its ability. Bippity boppity boop. Scrap Chimera's ability to get our Scrap Raptor onto the field yet again. So now we can go ahead and put here. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to not use that one. That is the wrong card to select. We're going to go ahead and get a Scrap Wyvern onto the field. So we're going to get rid of Scrap Raptor, and we're going to get rid of Scrap Chimera. Get out. Boom shakalaka, Scrap Wyvern. Ba-bam! We're going to use Scrap Wyvern's ability to destroy our Oviraptor and get out Scrap Raptor onto the field. Boom shakalaka. And then if we go on into here, we can go ahead and this play kind of makes it look like we're going to probably need to use our Super Evolution here, because we're not going to be able to do our full extension of stuff. Oh, my streamer battle's ready. Alright, let's go. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to banish that one, and we're going to banish our Scrap Chimera. I can go ahead and get Superconductor Tyranno out onto the field. So this is different from the other play because, boom shakalaka, I wasn't really able to get the combo that we had before, which is totally fine. But what I can do is we're not going to do Apollo. What we're going to do instead is we're going to have Union Carrier get rid of Scrap Wyvern and get rid of Scrap Raptor. Play Union Carrier. Boom shakalaka. And then use Union Carrier's ability to select one monster that we control, which we're going to choose our Superconductor Tyranno. And we are going to attach our Buster Blader. Okay, I probably misplayed something and I just don't see it, so oh well. I'll just put our other Archosaur in here. Go ahead and increase the ability of this card by 1,000. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set down Called by the Grave. Doesn't matter. I should have been able to do the ability of putting Dragon Buster on there to lock them out of the extra deck, but that's fine. We still have a 4,500 monster that can destroy something like Union Courier to attack twice of all monsters that they don't have. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and end the turn. kaiju me? Oh my god, they just fucking kaiju'd me. You said the situation may be attributing one monster they control, and if your opponent controls kaiju monster, your opponent... Huh, alright, they just fucking kaiju'd me. Super Hippo Carnival! Oh, so they're gonna try and hippo kill me. Okay. Okay! Well, that... Alright. I did not expect that to happen. To just get OTK hippoed, but, you know what, that's fine. And no, my Called by the Grave does not, in fact, help me here. And we lose to hippo. Well, that kinda super fucking sucks, but you know what? Shout out to the hippo for just coming through with, all of its token glory. Go for it, dude. You get that hippo deck. A fucking Mao! GG. G hecka G. Alright, we're gonna do one more ring duel because that was funny, but also not very satisfying. For the end of the main phase, do you want to activate Miscellaneous Source? Nope. I'm gonna do it on my turn. I would much rather activate Miscellaneous Source on my turn than on theirs. And because we have Superconductor Tyranno in our hand, that's really fucking awesome. Okay, let's see if we can bait out one of the cards. So let's go ahead and do Scrap Raptor. If it allows us to. Ah, it does. Sweet. Okay. Alright, first things first, we're gonna activate the effect of Miscellaneous Source because I'm not gonna let them do jack diddly fucking squat against me now. Unless they have Called by the Grave as their card over here. Prevent Miscellaneous Source from doing that? Nope. Alright, perfect. We're gonna go ahead and play Soul Eating Oviraptor and use its ability. Okay, they're gonna max C. That's fine. That's what they were having the entire time. Well, at least it doesn't stop our combo. We're just gonna give them 7,000 fucking cards, which is totally, totally cool with me. Okay, so we already had our Miscellaneousaurus go through and do that, do its ability. Summon it. You can only use the effect to add it into our hand. So, what I would rather add instead, since we've already used this, is honestly just get one of our little Babysaurs. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get Babysaurus to our hand. Okay, we're gonna wait for them to be done, which is great. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use Miscellaneousaurus's ability in our graveyard to get rid of it. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and special summon our Archosaur. And then we're gonna use its ability. We're gonna use its ability to go ahead and destroy our Babysaurus. That we can then get our Super Evolution Pill. Double Evolution Pill, sorry. And then we can now special summon a monster from the extra deck, so we are going to special summon Scrap Raptor! Boom shakalaka! And then we are going to have Scrap Raptor destroy itself. That we can use its ability to get Scrap Chimera, the other Scrap Chimera from our deck, which is great that we already have one in hand, so it just helps out for deck sitting. Then we'll go ahead and play Scrap Chimera. That we can go ahead and use its effect. Let's get Scrap Raptor back onto the field yet again. Okay. So they're gonna try and use Dark Ruler no more. Or not Dark Ruler, Skill Gate, which stopped our Scrap one from doing it from the skill drain. However, even though it stopped Scrap Raptor from coming on in and doing that, what I can still do is go on in here and prevents the ability of our other stuff from happening. That does stop our combo pretty hard, but what it doesn't stop is dinosaur monsters. And because we have Superconductor Tyranno in our hand, let's go ahead and banish one of our Babysaurus and Scrap Chimera. Our hand, which is nice to have. And we will go ahead and special summon Dr. Tyranno. Boom shakalaka. And then Oviraptor, I know, can destroy this card since it's kind of a dead card on the field. Ah! Okay, or they could just surrender and then that's that. Okay, well, that's not the best thing ever because I wanted to show you guys the other ways that you can go about it, but Superconductor Tyranno is a great card to have in there so that you can get rid of your opponent's shenanigans, especially when it has 3500 attack, and because of Missource's ability to prevent any other hand traps or activated abilities from affecting any of our dinosaur monsters, we would have been able to just do a shit ton of damage to them, and they wouldn't really have a response back, especially since we would have potentially had another miscellaneous shenanigans from happening again in the future. And even if its abilities were negated, it's still a 3500 stock monster to try and get rid of. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this Raid Raptor video and combination show off, because it's a very, very fun and cool one, and I know a lot of you guys were asking for it, so this was really fun to do. And if you guys have other suggestions for decks that you want to see me make, I love seeing different archetypes, trying out different archetypes. I think anti-meta decks are just super fun, and you're really only ever going to see meta shit from this channel, because that's the stuff that I enjoy making the most. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Make sure to subscribe because it's free. Like the video if you have not already. Share it with your friends. And without taking up any more of y'all's time, I will go ahead and let you. Goodbye, my lovelies.